Sometimes it's those quiet moves that end up having the biggest impact.
Rico Dowdle, native North Carolinian, coming home. The running back, I like it as a 1-2 punch there in the backfield with Chuba Hubbard.
How about we take a look at the offseason thus far and pinpoint 10 of the best under-the-radar deals that we've seen so far. Carolina Panthers, Rico Dowdle, RB. Okay, while the resurgence of former first overall pick Bryce Young last year should be enlivening for the Panthers organization and its starved fans, the reality is that the team still isn't exactly overflowing with talent. Coming into the offseason, it was clear that Carolina was in dire need of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and that is exactly why bringing in Rico Dowdle at running back makes so much sense. He finally popped off in the Cowboys offense last season despite injuries all over the map and went for over 1,000 rushing yards, nearly 250 receiving, and looked like a guy who could handle running back one duties if needed. And yet, no multi-year offers came in, so he took a flyer on Carolina, a team desperate for an offensive spark and a consistent ground game behind Chuba Hubbard. At $2.75 million a year, this is a prove-it deal in every sense. And if Dowdle builds on last year, heck, he might just run his way to a much bigger payday next March. Tennessee Titans, Xavier Woods. Safety. Despite having a defense that was generally pretty effective in 2024, the Titans gave up more explosive plays than just about anyone in football last season. Part of that could have stemmed from frustration watching their offensive stall out drive after drive, but still, there was an issue that needed to be addressed here. From our vantage point, it wasn't necessarily the scheme, but rather the personnel in the defensive backfield. They simply did not have the experience or consistency on the back end to survive in high leverage moments, which is why Titans fans should be absolutely gassed up to see the team bring in a veteran like Xavier Woods at safety, especially on a 2-year, $10 million deal, which looks like great value. Woods is a no-frills plug-and-play guy with serious experience. He has started well over 100 games in his career and missed just 3 games in the last 4 seasons. Better yet, he's played both safety spots and even taken snaps in the slot when needed, bringing to this team an added degree of versatility. Dallas Cowboys, Solomon Thomas, DE. For all the drama that unfolded in Dallas last year, the defensive collapse, the coordinator shuffle, the questions about identity, what the Cowboys really needed heading into the offseason was a locker room reset, which is exactly what Solomon Thomas can be. No, it's not exactly a flashy signing, it's not a headline grabber, but this is the kind of move that seasoned front offices make when they understand culture and scheme matter just as much as raw talent. Thomas has logged 8.5 sacks over the past 2 seasons with the Jets while carving out a reputation as a steady, high-motor contributor who can line up just about anywhere on the defensive front. And now he reunites with Aaron Whitecotton, his former D-line coach in New York, bringing instant familiarity to a unit learning Matt Eberflus's system on the fly. Considering he's only guaranteed $3 million in this deal, this should be viewed as a major win for Dallas. This might not be the move anyone's talking about right now, but hey, don't be surprised if Solomon Thomas ends up being one of the glue guys that holds this Dallas defense together in 2025. New York Jets, Stone Smartt, T. On paper, this might not move the needle for most fans, especially considering Stone Smartt has just 31 career receptions. But if you've been watching the Jets cycle through tight ends like it's musical chairs over the last few years, then hey, this move has some intriguing upsides. And based off how the more high-profile free agency moves have gone for the Jets in recent years, well, maybe they should just be happy with the guy that's gonna come in hungry and eager to make a dent as a part of the team. Stone Smartt is still relatively new to the position. He was a college quarterback not long ago, but the raw tools are there. As we saw last December, he put together a heck of a 3-game stretch with the Chargers, hauling in 11 catches for 141 yards and looking like a guy who could carve out a real role. Now he lands in New York, where the tight end room is getting a total overhaul and the QB situation, presumably Justin Fields, demands a reliable option underneath. Smartt might not be first string right away, but he is the kind of low-risk, high-upside developmental piece that could pay dividends later into the season. Los Angeles Chargers, Najee Harris, RB. When Jim Harbaugh took the reins in Los Angeles, one thing became crystal clear. The Chargers were gonna run the football, and they were gonna run it hard. So bringing in Najee Harris at just over $5 million for the year feels like an absolute no-brainer. Harris has his critics, sure, but what cannot be argued is his durability consistency in production. 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, never missed a game due to injury, and he is still just 27. This isn't about flash, this is about fit. Harris's physical, no-nonsense running style fits Harbaugh's vision like a glove. And if the O-line holds up, Najee could end up being the steady, punishing presence that gives this offense some real identity. Cleveland Browns, Cornelius Lucas, OL. With all the noise around Deshaun Watson and the Browns defense and quarterback situation last season, one of the team's most pressing issues flew under the radar: depth on the offensive line. That's why the signing of Cornelius Lucas, 2 years, $10 million, might be one of the smartest, most necessary moves that Cleveland made this offseason. Lucas has been a model of consistency. He's played well over 400 snaps in 5 of the last 6 seasons and allowed just 1 sack on nearly 300 pass blocking snaps last year in Washington, finishing the year looking like one of the better pass blockers in the league. What makes him even more valuable for the Browns, which, as you might imagine, still are a bit in flux both with their offense at large and the line, is that he's versatile enough to line up on either side of the line. With Jack Conklin struggling to stay healthy and young DeWand Jones still raw, Lucas gives Cleveland a legitimate insurance policy, and one that might quietly end up starting sooner than expected, even if the Browns end up taking another tackle in the draft. Chicago Bears, Olamide Zaccheaus. In today's NFL, speed and route running is everything, and that is exactly what the Bears added with the signing of Olamide Zaccheaus. Zaccheaus bounced back nicely with Washington last year. 45 catches, 506 yards, and a few big play moments that showed that he still has some juice. He's only 27, and his ability to line up in the slot or the backfield gives Johnston the kind of chess piece that he loves to scheme touches for. Don't be shocked if we see Zaccheaus have a bump in the middle of the year and his production take off once Johnston figures out exactly how he wants to use him. Kinda similar to what we saw happen with Tim Patrick and Jameson Williams last year in Detroit. If you're looking for a sneaky contributor who could have a few highlight reel moments in Chicago's revamped offense, then hey, this is your guy. Kansas City Chiefs, Elijah Mitchell, RB. One of the sneaky biggest signings of the offseason thus far was the Chiefs bringing in running back Elijah Mitchell from the rival San Francisco 49ers. Mitchell's career in San Francisco was derailed by injuries, but the talent was never in question. When healthy, he is explosive, with a unique ability to shoot through the hole, get nimble in space, and at top line, just flat out fast. Considering they signed him at a deal worth just over $2 million, the risk is next to nothing. Kansas City had a nice power running game going last year with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco powering through the line. But the entire dynamic of that backfield could change with a slippery back like Mitchell. With the way this offense is structured, it doesn't need a 20 carry a game back. It needs a spark from a guy that can rip off a few big plays to complement the bruisers they have in the stable already. Pittsburgh Steelers, Juan Thornhill, safety. Juan Thornhill's last couple of years were up and down, largely due to injuries, but that doesn't mean he can't still play. When he is on, he brings range, smarts, and Super Bowl level experience to the back end. This could be especially valuable if the Steelers decide to take a closer look at the 2025 safety draft class, headlined by 2 extremely talented players, Malachi Starks from Georgia and Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina. A veteran like Thornhill could help stabilize and even mentor whichever one of the young studs the Steelers might take. Besides, no one is expecting Juan Thornhill to roll into Pittsburgh and become the next Troy Polamalu. But the Steelers need stability in the secondary, and there is a good chance that he can at least bring that. Regardless of whether they add young talent through the draft, the Steelers need help at the position. Plain and simple. New York Giants, Chauncey Golston, DL. If the Giants learned anything from last season, it's that Dexter Lawrence can't do it all by himself. Man was double teamed on nearly every snap, and once Leonard Williams got shipped to Seattle in the middle of last season, New York's defensive interior looked completely gutted. Now, signing Chauncey Golston isn't going to make the back page of the New York Times, but the acquisition does bring a much-needed element of depth to this group. Even better, they snagged him from a division rival, as Golston comes over from Dallas, where he was quietly effective in a rotational role, winning a ton of matchups on a week-to-week basis. This is the kind of pickup that could end up looking like a steal midway through the year, because with Lawrence commanding attention, Golston could see some really advantageous matchups on a regular basis, which would free him up to pin his ears back, especially on third downs, and go to to work. Suddenly, first-year defensive coordinator Shane Bowen has a legitimate interior disruptor who doesn't cost big money, and might be one of the most underrated pieces on the unit this season. But hey, which under-the-radar NFL transaction do you think looks sneaky good right now? What do you think we're right on? What do you think we got wrong? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.